From Dorrance Field in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, you're watching men's college lacrosse on ACC Network Extra. Today, a pair of 1-0 teams face off as the North Carolina Tar Heels out of the ACC welcome in the Southern Conference's Mercer Bears. Hey there, folks. Matt Krause with you. Thanks so much for joining us here on this Saturday afternoon. A deceptively chilly afternoon in Chapel Hill for the second game of the regular season for both the Tar Heels and the Bears. Carolina gets here off of a 19-6 victory against Colgate in their season opener 7 days back. Mercer took on a Division II opponent, Florida Tech, and earned an 18-6 victory. Carolina sweeping the ACC Player of the Week honors after that big win against Colgate. The Offensive Player of the Week, Chris Gray, transferred from Boston University, made a huge impact in his debut in Carolina Blue, recorded a 6-point game, 4 goals, all of them in the first quarter, also handed out 2 assists. It was the first 6-point game for a Tar Heel since Chris Cloutier 2 years ago against these Mercer Bears. And on the flip side, the Defensive Player of the Week in the ACC, Carolina's sophomore goalkeeper, Caton Johnson. Johnson made 9 saves, an 81.8 save percentage, and helped the Tar Heels to that big win against Colgate. Now Carolina searches for 2-0 on the season, as does Mercer. Tar Heels have been 2-0 the last 6 seasons. Mercer has never done so in the history of their program, which dates back to 2011. Matchup to watch throughout the afternoon will be at the Face-Off X. Zach Tucci, sophomore for North Carolina, against Ashton Wood, also a sophomore, a preseason all-conference selection of the Southern Conference. Wood was Mercer's team MVP a season ago. He is very good at that face-off, get-off specialty midfielder role. So a pair of sophomores will get us started here today. Carolina is in the whites. Mercer is in the black. 4th all-time meeting between these two programs. Carolina has won the previous 3, including a 20-9 triumph in a neutral site game played last year at Centennial High School in Roswell, Georgia. And right from the get-go, first possession to Mercer. It's Wood that wins the initial face-off. When Mercer's on offense, look for number 24 in black. It's Sean Goldsmith. He's a North Carolina native. Found the back of the cage 6 times last week against Florida Tech, and that matched a Mercer single-game record. No Bear had scored 6 goals in a game since 2014. But Goldsmith, like Wood, a preseason All-Southern Conference selection, certainly dangerous. Half the shot clock elapsed. First possession offensively here for Mercer. Behind a screen, hedge from Connor Marr. Preseason all-conference selection of the ACC. Defensive midfielder for the Tar Heels. Down to 20 to shoot for the Bears. Marr applying the defensive pressure. This is Goldsmith with the ball and gets it past Johnson. Initial goal to the Bears. The 7th goal of the season for the sophomore from Jamestown, North Carolina. Playing back in his home state, Sean Goldsmith opens the scoring just over a minute into our game. So Sean Goldsmith picks up right where he left off a week ago. And Mercer gets the first goal after winning the all-important opening face-off. Now Tucci and Wood will do it all over again. Tucci last week at the Face-Off X was 13 of 23. Wood won 20 of his 25 opportunities last week, and now he's 2 for 2 today. This is a Mercer team that went just 1-12 last season. Their lone victory came against VMI, a perennial doormat in the Southern Conference that has not won a league game since 2014. But despite the 1-12 mark, the Bears dropped 4 games by 1 goal. There's a lot of optimism around the program heading into this year. It's a year that started off with the 18-6 victory against Division II Florida Tech last week. But now the Bears trying to pull an upset against Carolina in the 4th all-time meeting. We mentioned a 20-9 triumph for the Tar Heels. Centennial High School in Roswell, Georgia last year. The two teams also met here in Chapel Hill back in 2018. That was a 14-7 Carolina win. The initial matchup in the series came back in 2012, 20-7 at the Lovett School in Atlanta. Johnson turns aside that shot, taken by Nick Rockefeller, junior out of Ackworth, Georgia. Opportunity here in transition for the Tar Heels, though Brian Cameron can't control it. Rockefeller applying pressure. Mercer picks up the ground ball. So still nothing doing offensively for the Tar Heels. And Mercer with an opportunity in transition. Alexander and Macri wall off the drive from Zach Green. Green, a young freshman, playing on the attack line for the Bears. Patrick Marks gets it away. Mercer runs through the midfield substitutions and will set up the offense yet again. In the 18-6 win last week, Mercer peppered the cage to the tune of 68 shots. Scored 18 goals in the game, but that's only a 26.5% shot percentage. On the drive, look at a crease violation against Mercer. Michael Quinn got in the crease, so now Carolina will work it up the fields. Parker Alexander through the midfield. The first time we get to see the Carolina offense go to work. This is Chris Gray with the ball in the crease right now. Gray, the ACC Offensive Player of the Week. 4 goals, 6 points last week for the Tar Heels. All 4 goals came in the first quarter. It was the first 4-goal quarter for a Tar Heel since 2017. Nicky Solomon, the sophomore, second chance opportunity, tie game. Brian Cameron with his 3rd of the season. The sophomore out of New Hampshire knots us up at 1. Solomon took the initial shot. It was turned aside, but it fell right at the feet of Cameron, who's able to put it past Mercer's goalkeeper. Brian Cameron already a quarter of the way to his season total from a year ago. One of the younger players that's now got a year of experience under his belt. Cameron appeared in all 15 games last year for the Tar Heels, started just 1 though. That was the regular season win against Duke here at Dorrance Field. The first ACC win in this venue for the Tar Heels. See if Carolina can get a face-off here. Wood has controlled the previous 2, and possession does in fact go back to the Bears. So Mercer applying pressure early on here, trying to pull the upset on the road. This is Green, the freshman. Kyle Hannon, head coach of the Bears, is really, really high on Green. Part of an attack unit that's got some experience. Green being the newbie among the bunch. Goldsmith, who we mentioned, is a sophomore. Another name we might call throughout the afternoon a lot is Will McCarthy, a senior from Massachusetts, who's moved up from the midfield line. He's wearing number 22 in black. You see him there in the middle of your screen, right around the restraining line. Behind the cage, this is Green again. Goldsmith, ever dangerous, had the first goal today for Mercer, 7 on the season. Shot whistles wide. They'll stay with the Bears. Only 20 seconds to shoot though for Mercer. Bears have to have a sense of urgency here. Cole Leggett, the midfielder. Gives it away for fellow midfielder Michael Quinn. Back to the near side, past the far post. Again, the Bears retain possession, but more desperation time, just 5 seconds to shoot. Down to 2 on the timer. Ball will squirt over the near sideline, and on the shot clock violation, possession back to Carolina. Going back to the point that Coach Hannon of Mercer made about the veteran experience in his attacking unit, Mercer as a program is only playing in its 10th season this year. As a D1 program, Coach Hannon said, you know, as one of the newer programs in Division I lacrosse, you find yourself constantly being young, bringing all these new guys into the program. But it feels like this year especially, his group has got a lot of veteran presence to it, guys that have played significant game minutes as Carolina takes the lead. Nicky Solomon with his 4th of the season. His shot rejected last time. This time, Solomon able to score it from the near post. The Georgia native from Alpharetta, Georgia. So the Tar Heels go on top for the first time today, 2-1. Just about 6 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Carolina has made a sub at the faceoff X. They've gone to the freshman from Falls Church, Virginia, Andrew Tyryard. Ashton Wood still out there for Mercer. See if it results in anything different for the Tar Heels. The answer is no. Mercer has won all 4 faceoffs to this point, and as a result has been able to be the offensive aggressor. Carolina's 2 goals have come on some fairly quick possessions. Large majority of the possessions so far in this game has belonged to the visiting Bears. Their lone goal has come from the man with the ball in his cross, just giving it up, Sean Goldsmith. And the Bears have been content to work clock here, a shot clock violation on their last possession. Trying to be patient, trying to be more efficient with their shots. We said the number, it was 68 shots for Mercer in their last game against Florida Tech, and Coach Hannon said, you know, that's a great number to have, but they definitely want to be more efficient with their shots. They're going to need to do that against a tough team like Carolina. Jake Priester, second-team midfielder, finds Goldsmith. Harassed by freshman Will Bowen. Goldsmith works it around. Shot clock low, just 6 seconds to shoot. Ball goes wide of Johnson. Carolina will get the possession back. Bring the ball up the field, it's Alex Bresci. Bresci is related to head coach Joe Bresci. Alex's father, Chuck, is Joe's cousin. Chuck also played lacrosse here at North Carolina from 1990 to 1994. Here's Chris Gray. Checked very closely by Wesley Chairs, a freshman. Gray gets it out top. Loose ball behind the cage. Eventually deflects over the end line off of a Tar Heel. Possession to Mercer. So a squandered opportunity there for Carolina. Chairs was right there in the grill of Gray throughout that entire possession. Marks through the midfield for the Bears. Last 2 possessions for Mercer. One's resulted in a shot clock violation. The other a fairly desperate shot with just 5 on the timer. Carolina's done a good job settling in defensively here as this first quarter's gone long. Mercer scored first. Sean Goldsmith with his 7th of the year. Carolina has found answers from Brian Cameron and Nicky Solomon. Here is Goldsmith. Way to the near wing. Marks with the pirouette. Marks denied by the crossbar. Alexander knocks the ball up in the air, falls to Macri of Carolina. Tar Heels get into their offensive attacking half of the field. Carolina 1-0 on the season in search of 2-0 for the 7th consecutive year. Last season, Carolina began their year 3-0. The best start in that span is 9-0 in the 2015 season. Justin Anderson, the senior captain, shares it with his fellow senior Tanner Cook. Speaking of seniors, here's William Perry. The entire first midfield line, which is on the field right now for the Tar Heels, consisting of members of the senior class. A big reason why a lot of pundits around the sport are high on Carolina's offense into this 2020 season. Shot clock under 30 for the Tar Heels. Solomon, the sophomore, checked closely behind the cage. Can't connect with Perry or Cook. Rolls all the way over the midline. It's an over and back violation against the Tar Heels. Mercer with a chance now in transition. McCarthy thought about pulling the trigger from the far side. Opts not to and waits for the subs to arrive for the Bears. Leggett and Goldsmith play catch. Mercer controlling shots so far in this one, 6-4. Shots on goal, even at 2. So one save this game, credited to Carolina's Caton Johnson. Sophomore out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania between the pipes. Took over the starting duties midway through last year. Was the starting goalkeeper for all 6 games against ACC competition when you count the conference tournament. And earned that starting job into this year. Named preseason All-ACC and backed it up with the first ACC Defensive Player of the Week honor of the 2020 season. 20 seconds to shoot for the Bears. Yet again, Mercer lets the shot clock get deep. Goldsmith, an awkward-looking shot. Trickles over the end line. Possession will stay with the Bears, but they'll have just 13 seconds with which to operate. McCarthy. McCarthy turns past 2 defenders, behind to Goldsmith. With the shot clock at 2, a bouncer turned aside by Johnson. Ground ball behind the cage, picked up by Goldsmith and the Bears. Carolina just cannot maintain steady possession throughout this first quarter that is approaching just 3 minutes to go. Yet the Tar Heels have the lead on the scoreboard 2-1. Credit to the Carolina defense for that. Sidearm shot will stay with the Bears. This is Cole Leggett, freshman from Kennesaw, Georgia, working on Marr. Comes out top for the leader of this offense, Sean Goldsmith. 6'4" frame, 24 in black. Shot clock working toward 30. Tough angle on that one. Sails out of bounds. Michael Quinn's shot missed everything. Mercer closest. So the Bears will keep possession. Goldsmith one-on-one with Will Bowen, redshirt freshman from Massachusetts. One of the elite defenders, elite young defenders in all of college lacrosse. See him wearing 24 in white with the long pole. Leggett desperately trying to spin around Lyons, who forces the ball free. And it's a shot clock violation anyway. Tar Heels in transition. They'll bring the numbers up the fields. Solomon able to get it past. The quick strike offense for Carolina results in the second goal of the game and 5th of the season for the Georgia sophomore Nikki Solomon. Solomon beats Colin Kelly, freshman goalkeeper for Mercer. And despite the Bears controlling the large majority of the possession in this one, Carolina in front on the scoreboard 3-1. So it's a 3-goal run for the Tar Heels. Mercer struck first in this one. Sean Goldsmith with his 7th of the year. Now Zach Tucci back at the face-off X for the Tar Heels. Violation against Mercer. So possession to Carolina here. Henry Schertzinger's into the game. Sophomore midfielder out of Ohio. This is the second midfield unit on the field right now for Carolina. Includes Ryan O'Connell. O'Connell plays it behind the cage for Solomon. Solomon scored the last two for the Tar Heels to break a 1-1 tie and give Carolina the lead here. There's about a 40-second difference shot to game clock. So Carolina cannot hold here for the final shot of the first quarter. Gray, mostly held in check so far by the Bears. 30 seconds to shoot. Schertzinger has it knocked free, picks it up himself, bounces it wide of the cage. Possession stays with Gray and the Tar Heels. Gray in front, behind the back. Second today for Brian Cameron. Gray drew the attention of the Bear defense. They fell asleep on Cameron, and Gray, the distributor, shines through. 4-1 Tar Heels.
Assisted by number 4, Chris Gray. Carolina goal, 58 seconds.
The assist for Gray, his second today, his fourth of the season. So make it 8 points in a Carolina uniform for Chris Gray. And Brian Cameron, the New Hampshire sophomore, has 4 goals on the year. Critical face-off here, the late stages of the first quarter. It's a violation on the Tar Heels, so Mercer will be able to hold this and take the final shot of the period. Momentum clearly on the side of Carolina at the moment. A couple of quick goals in the waning stages of this first quarter. If you're Mercer and you want to hang around in this one, a goal before the first quarter horn sounds is probably pretty critical. Priester, second midfield unit player, brings it up right at the cage. Goldsmith with Bowen on him, has to bounce it straight away. McCarthy, the midfielder, turned attackman. 15 seconds left in the first. On the way in. Just 5 seconds now. And a low bouncing shot gets past an unsuspecting Johnson. And there is the goal that the Bears were in search of. Nick Rockefeller, the junior, with his second on the year. Just 4 seconds to play in the first quarter. And Nick Rockefeller able to trim into this Carolina deficit. So Mercer did what they wanted to do after the Tar Heels went up 4-1. The Bears able to find their way to get one back before the first quarter would come to an end. Tucci against Wood. Clean face-off this time, won by Mercer, but just 4 seconds left in the first quarter. Well, the visiting Mercer Bears out of the Southern Conference score a couple of times in the first quarter. Their goals sandwiched 4 from the Tar Heels, 2 apiece from Nicky Solomon and Brian Cameron, in favor of Mercer. Carolina reeled off the next 4 before Nick Rockefeller bounced one in from long range past Caton Johnson to cut the Carolina lead down to just 2. The face-off X has been interesting so far. Ashton Wood of Mercer against Zach Tucci of North Carolina. Mercer has won 6 of the 7 face-offs so far in this game. This one still up for grabs, and Connor Marr grabs it for the Tar Heels. Wood, one of the elite face-off players in all of college lacrosse, able to give Mercer plenty of chances so far in this one. That's a big reason why the Bears are leading in shots 12-7. Shots on goal, even 4 apiece. Johnson has 2 saves for the Tar Heels. Carolina is in the white, Mercer is in the black. The Tar Heels 1-0 on the year off a 19-6 win against Colgate last week. game in which Carolina led 18-2 after 3 quarters. Turnover for the Tar Heels. Tanner Cook airmails Chris Gray behind the cage. Though Gray is yet to score for Carolina, the ACC Offensive Player of the Week does have 2 assists. Bears with 8 seconds to clear it, and they fail to do so. Cook gets up to intercept. Transition opportunity. A streaking Bresci! Alex Bresci, the freshman from Maryland, puts Carolina on top by 3 again. Carolina has been dangerous in the quick strike transition offense today. And that whole sequence started when the veteran Tanner Cook got up to intercept the clear attempt from Mercer. The assist will go to Nicky Solomon, his 3rd of the season. A 3-point game so far for Solomon. And Alex Bresci scores his first goal as a Tar Heel. If you missed it earlier, Alex Bresci's father, Chuck, is the cousin of Carolina head coach Joe Bresci. Chuck also played here in Chapel Hill from 1990 to 1994. Another face-off won by the Bears. Mercer will try and answer here. Overall, a pretty good first quarter for the Bears, controlling the shots, controlling the face-off X. Trailing by 2 against a very good Carolina team. Those are the words of Kyle Hannon, the 8th-year head coach of Mercer. Talking to him before the game, asked him, what stands out about Carolina, and he just said, just about everything. They're so good offensively. Their defensive pressure is a factor. We saw that on display, that last possession there. Coach Hannon just wanted his team to come up here to Chapel Hill and compete, show the signs of growth that he knows Mercer is capable of into this season. Cole Leggett, the midfielder, dances around left of the cage. Goldsmith has not gotten very many opportunities since his initial goal. Here he gives it up to Leggett. Just 5 to shoot. Another low clock situation for the Bears. Goldsmith from the far side. Hits the side of the cage, no goal. Initially looked like it might have been in, but that got the side netting, not the inner portion. Chris Gray for Carolina. He's got Wesley Chairs, the freshman, on him. Solomon, 2 goals and an assist already today. Around a screen. Pass knocked down. No foul. Bears will have it in transition and able to clear. Here is Solomon looking for an opening. Instead, finds the stick of Colin Kelly, the freshman. Freshman from Ellicott City, Maryland, between the pipes for Mercer. Coach Hannon says that Kelly's a really passionate kid. Teammates really support him, but he won the job fair and square. He came in, competed in the fall and in preseason camp, and earned their starting goalkeeper nod as a freshman. Well, even though he's won that job and played pretty well against Florida Tech last week, as coach says, adjusting to college lacrosse, he's a little bit more wide-eyed now than when he first stepped on campus. Bears trying to answer the initial Carolina goal here in the second quarter. Mercer will keep possession with about 30 seconds to shoot. Patrick Marks. Bothered by Bowen. 15 now. Goldsmith has the all-conference defender Marr on him. Tough angle, wide shot, 6 seconds.
Sean Goldsmith.
Again, off the side of the cage, and this will be a shot clock violation against Mercer. Second shot clock violation forced today by the Tar Heels. And that defense has been stingy for the most part. Alex Trippy, the junior, in at attack for the Tar Heels. Player who started the final 11 games of last season. His team being a little bit more deliberate, but it's Trippy playing that role behind the cage. Gray still in search of his first goal today, opts to pass it off. Matt Gavin sends it wide. Trippy still with possession as the shot clock rolls under 30. Back to Gavin, has it poked away from behind. Collects the ground ball. Now this is Gray, quarterback in the offense from behind the cage. Gets it in front. Point blank save by Kelly on Solomon. Solomon looking for a hat trick. The freshman goalkeeper for Mercer says no. And now the Bears with a transition look. Moving quickly. Goldsmith turns it into a goal at the other end. Solomon wanted his third of the day. Mercer goalkeeper Colin Kelly denied him. The Bears quickly cleared it. And before the Tar Heels could get back down the field, Sean Goldsmith tallied his 8th of the season. Just like that, it's a 2-goal game again, 5-3.
Assisted by number 22, Will McCarthy.
Will McCarthy credited with the assist. The assist for McCarthy, his first today, 3rd of the season. He had a pair last week against Florida Tech. So back we go to the face-off X, where Mercer has dominated. The Bears have won 7 of the 9 face-offs thus far today. This time, though, Tucci comes away with it for the Tar Heels and wants to move. Can't connect with Solomon, though. Somewhat reminiscent to the play against Syracuse last year in the ACC tournament, where Carolina made that epic 4-goal run late in the game, in which Tucci won a face-off, took it down, and scored it himself. Had notions to do it right there, potentially. Bears turn it over. Bresci gets it ahead for Alexander. Alex Bresci of Carolina scoring the lone goal thus far in this second quarter. Justin Anderson, the senior from Las Vegas, one of 3 team captains on the Tar Heels this year. Another is William Perry. He's got the ball and gives it to Gray. Gray looking for Cook. Tanner Cook puts it through. A quick answer after Mercer's goal. Tanner Cook, the Ontario, Canada senior, with his 2nd of the year. Even though Chris Gray has not been able to find the back of the cage yet today. That's another assist for Gray. He's really showing off his passing skills. 3 assists today, now 5 on the season for Gray.
Assisted by number 4, Chris Gray. His first assist. Carolina goal, 7:45.
So 6-3 Carolina. Tar Heels go back up by 3. Mercer scored first in this game to lead it 1-0. On the face-off violation, Carolina will get it here. Then the Tar Heels scored 4 in a row. And the Tar Heels have been able to answer each of the Mercer goals since. Opportunity here to build the first 4-goal lead of the game. Cook looking for Anderson. Trippy stays in there at attack. The attack line at the moment, Gray, Trippy, and Brian Cameron. Cook, who just scored a moment ago, does so again. 2 goals in a minute from senior Tanner Cook. Cook creating himself from the other side of the cage and a little bit further out from his previous goal. And the Tar Heels have their first 4-goal lead today.
This is the Carolina goal. 7-7 remaining in the second period. Number 77, Tanner Cook.
So it's Cook's second goal today, 3rd of the season. And after that sequence in which Mercer got it down quickly, Goldsmith scored to cut the game to 2. Consecutive goals from Tanner Cook have given Carolina back the momentum and some breathing room here in the second quarter. Though this is what can get Mercer right back in it, controlling the face-off X like they did in the first. Ashton Wood, top 10 in the country in face-off percentage last year as a freshman, able to win it for the Bears. And as soon as Mercer grabs possession there, they'll take a top 2 scorers, and Sean Goldsmith and Michael Quinn. Goldsmith has 2 of the 3 goals for Mercer today. This is Priester with the ball, a bounce shot that Johnson's able to corral. 3rd save of the day for Caden Johnson, the sophomore goalkeeper from Pennsylvania. Tar Heels successfully clear it. They'll go back on offense, trying to build on a 4-goal lead. Closing it on 5 minutes to go before the half here. Gray has 3 assists in this game despite no goals. That attack line for Carolina remains Gray, Trippy, and Brian Cameron. So Nicky Solomon sitting on the bench. Matt Gavin trying to dodge his way in from the near side. Back to Trippy behind, lost the handle. A scrum for the ball behind the cage, winds up going over the end line. It'll be a Carolina turnover. 6th giveaway of the game for the Tar Heels. So an opportunity to really blow this game wide open goes by the wayside for Carolina. Patrick Marks in the midfield for the Bears. Looking ahead for Tim Kronberger, who gets it to Goldsmith. Goldsmith with his 2 goals today, wearing number 24 in black. That's not his usual jersey number. His usual jersey number is 3. However, the Bears have a one-time recruit by the name of John Michael Knight that suffered a stroke, unable to come to campus in Macon. So the Bears send him practice footage every week, and he gets to pick one player that would wear his number, which is number 24. After Sean Goldsmith's 6-goal game last week, he gets the honor of wearing number 24 today. Has backed it up with a couple of goals early. Carolina commits a foul, so a fresh 80 seconds for the Bears. Marks goes and tracks down the ball near the midline. Michael Quinn, the 2nd leading scorer a year ago for the Bears with 22 goals. Challenging Bresci. Quinn gets it behind. Now it's Goldsmith behind the cage. Bowen, the redshirt freshman, bothering him. Marks out top. Bresci stepping right along with Quinn. Kronberger wide of the cage. Possession will stay with the Bears and Goldsmith. Just 23 seconds to shoot, though. Shot clock will take us down right to the 3-minute mark. Bresci pushes the back of Goldsmith. Flag flies, and Mercer's going to go man up here. So our first flag of the day. Bresci will report to the penalty box. And it'll be a 30-second man-up situation now for the Bears with a fresh 80 seconds. Mercer a week ago was 2 for 6 in man-up offensive opportunities. Colgate against Carolina went man-up 6 times. They were successful on 3 of those occasions. Carolina was pretty good at man-down defense last year. Second best in the ACC, 26% conversion rate for opponents. But Mercer will have roughly now 17 more seconds of a player advantage here. Trying to take advantage. Down to 10 seconds in the penalty time. Johnson denies. Ball rolls out of bounds, and Carolina successfully kills off the penalty. So that man-down defense that was such a strength for Carolina last year shines through again. Tar Heels in front by 4. Trying to close this first half strong. As they hunt for 2-0 for the 7th consecutive season. This is Trippy, the junior. Again, sets up behind the cage as he's done the last several offensive possessions. Trippy trying to turn the corner himself. Tough angle. Maintains possession. Kelly says no. Second chance for Perry. Bounces wide. Stays with Cameron and the Tar Heels. Brian Cameron, 2 first-quarter goals today. 3 different Tar Heels have 2 goals apiece. Brian Cameron, Nicky Sullivan, and Tanner Cook. Chris Gray is assisted on 3 of the 7. 4 assists now. Trippy bounces it through. Second goal of the season for the junior from Great Falls, Virginia. And Carolina's lead is 5. Joe Bresci calls Chris Gray the quarterback of his offense. And that's a reason why. Gray behind the cage, able to alertly find Trippy. And Alex Trippy gets in the scoring column for the Tar Heels. So 6 assists now in the season for Gray, 2 goals for Trippy. With less than 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, Carolina's lead is a game-high 5. It is a 3-0 Tar Heel run since the Sean Goldsmith goal to trim the Carolina lead down to 5-3. At the face-off X, Ashton Wood of Mercer against Zach Tucci of North Carolina. Carolina's been a little bit better on face-offs here in the second quarter, though Mercer wins this one. A 25-second difference, shot to game clock will not matter because of some sloppiness behind the cage. Mercer turns it over. It's the 8th turnover of the game for the Bears. Carolina will have about a 12-second difference here. Bowen gets it up the field. Saw Mercer be able to score in the waning seconds of the first quarter, carry some momentum into the second. Could really be a backbreaker for the Bears if Carolina is able to tally one more here before the half. Ryan O'Connell, the Connecticut junior. Plays it over to Gray, who's been such a great distributor so far. Harrison Schertzinger, sophomore from Ohio, along with his brother Henry, are both in. Back to Trippy. O'Connell! Ryan O'Connell with his first goal of the season. (9-3) Tar Heels. Should give an assist to Alex Trippy. If so, that would be his 2nd of the season. But Ryan O'Connell, the midfielder, is now joined on the team by his brother Quinton He's a freshman this year. Ryan O'Connell with his first goal of his junior season. A 4-0 Carolina run. And still plenty of time to get another one before the half. Critical face-off looming here. It's a face-off won by the Bears. They can take the final shot of this first half if they so choose. And to set up an effective offensive play, Mercer will take their second timeout. So Kyle Hannon calls for time. He wants to gather his team around him. A Mercer Bears team that was picked 5th in the Southern Conference preseason poll, behind Richmond, High Point, Air Force, and Jacksonville. The SoCon for men's lacrosse is more of a hodgepodge of schools from various all-sports conferences. Mercer, Furman, and VMI are the only 3 teams in that league for lacrosse that play basketball, soccer, that sort of thing, in the Southern Conference. High Point out of the Big South, Richmond from the Atlantic 10, Jacksonville Atlantic Sun, Air Force even from the Mountain West Conference. SoCon made some headlines last week when Air Force went to nearby Durham, defeated Duke. Big season opening win for the Falcons. Richmond, the preseason favorite in the league, won the conference title last year. High Point was viewed by many as the best team in the league. Panthers earned regular season wins against Duke and Virginia, but couldn't take care of business on their home field last year in the SoCon title game. Richmond went on the road and won it. It was Richmond that got the NCAA bid. Just about half a minute to go here in the first half. Tar Heels have scored the last 4 goals. Mercer looking to take momentum into the locker room. Michael Quinn's been pretty quiet today. McCarthy, the converted midfielder. Looking ahead for Goldsmith. Carolina forces a turnover. Just 8 seconds with which to work. Bowen and Marr knock around the ground ball. Marr flings it upfield as the horn sounds. And Carolina will take a 6-goal lead into the locker room. Well, Mercer hung around in the first quarter. It was 4-2 after 15 minutes. Bears got it to a 2-goal game again at 5-3. But Carolina plays strong down the stretch in the second quarter, and it's the Tar Heels in front. They've also never beaten North Carolina. They'll need a 6-goal comeback in order to achieve either of those marks here today. Where Mercer has been strong today is at the face-off X. That's their 11th win in 15 tries. For Ashton Wood, the sophomore from St. Augustine, Florida, All-Southern Conference face-off specialist. Mercer scored first in this game. Sean Goldsmith with the initial goal to put the Bears up 1-0. Carolina reeled off the next 4 before Mercer scored at the very end of the first quarter. Teams would trade a couple of goals early in the second quarter, and then Carolina finished that period on a 4-0 run. So a 9-3 advantage for the Tar Heels as we head to this third quarter of play. Mercer ahead in shots, 20-17. Shots on goal, 11-6 for Carolina. Priester gets it ahead. Hat trick for Goldsmith. Sean Goldsmith has his second hat trick in as many games. And the sophomore from right here in North Carolina has Mercer back within 5. Make it 9 goals on the season for Goldsmith. And he scored 3 of the 4 today for Mercer. So much like in the first half, the Bears get the initial possession. They're able to turn it into a goal. The assist on the play credited to Jake Priester. Priester's first assist of the season. Carolina responds with a face-off win by Tucci. Tar Heels have been going fast frequently today. Solomon tried to make something happen there in search of his own hat trick. Speaking of players hunting for a third goal, Brian Cameron's in that category. Gives it away for Chris Gray. The ACC's Offensive Player of the Week, Gray, has yet to score today, but he has handed out assists on 4 of the 9 Carolina goals. Kind of a glimpse at what this offense can be with Gray as part of it. Draws so much attention that with his passing abilities, it leaves open options for other players to score. Tanner Cook has 2 goals today. He plays catch with team captain William Perry. Gray from behind the cage. Perry, extra pass Cook. Solomon tried for 3, sent it wide. It'll stay with the Tar Heels, 25 to shoot. Gray double teamed to the right of the crease. Cook goes low, turned aside by Colin Kelly. Kelly, the true freshman from Maryland, records the save. It's his 3rd save of the game. Caton Johnson's got 3 as well for the Tar Heels. Successful clearance by Mercer. They'll go back on offense, trying to cut this down to a 4-goal game here. It is Goldsmith with the ball out in the right alley. Miscommunication, Mercer turns it over. 10th giveaway for the Bears, just 6 turnovers for the Tar Heels so far today. Connor Marr, all-conference midfielder. Looping it ahead for the senior captain Anderson. Ryan O'Connell scored the last goal of the first half for the Tar Heels. Second-line midfielder subs in here. Second midfield unit of O'Connell, Schertzinger, and Matt Gavin. Solomon and Gray, both from behind the cage. Gray changes directions. Wanted his first goal of the day. Unable to get it on the tough angle. Though the Tar Heels will keep possession here. Solomon can't connect with Cameron. Schertzinger scoops the ground ball. O'Connell drives, shares. Gavin with 15. 10 to shoot for the Tar Heels. Gray relatively open. Solomon instead gets it in front for O'Connell. 2 and 1. And it is ruled that the shot was deflected, so fresh 80 seconds for the Tar Heels. Mercer unable to get possession back. Can Carolina take advantage? And it's ruled that Solomon was in the crease. So a crease violation against Nicky Solomon does give possession back to the Bears. Patrick Marks, head of steam through the midfields. Marks plays it ahead for Goldsmith. Bowen arrives defensively. Another Mercer turnover. Macri, the senior captain, picks it up for Carolina. 11th turnover for the Bears. Chris Gray. Over to Perry. Now back to Cook. So a couple of those first-line midfielders back in there for Carolina. Anderson lost control. Cook gets the ground ball along the far sideline. More deliberate offensive attack here by the Tar Heels in the 3rd quarter. Results in an errant shot from Perry. Cameron was in the neighborhood, so possession stays with the Tar Heels. Gray from behind. Gray wraps, scores! Chris Gray with his 5th point of the game. His first goal of the afternoon. and 5th goal of the season. And that was a self-created goal for Chris Gray. We've seen him distribute. We saw him last week score with help. And there he does perhaps what he does best, and that's create on his own. Additionally, a penalty against Mercer. Saw the flag come out there late in that sequence. So it'll be Tucci and Wood to report to the face-off X, with Carolina back in front by 6. And Tucci scoops the face-off. Second consecutive face-off win for Carolina. Tucci to Gray. Gray hungry for more. They'll get Carolina for offsides there. Extra man over the center line. So possession back to Mercer. Goldsmith wants a 4th goal. Wasn't quite a shot. They're going to rule that it was, though, because McCarthy was in the neighborhood. Possession will stay with Mercer. Certainly wasn't the angle at which you would think that Goldsmith wanted to get that shot off. But nonetheless, 40 seconds to shoot for the Bears, half the shot clock gone by. Carolina, by the way, has gone ahead in shots, 23-22. Goldsmith trying to make his way through traffic. Comes back to Quinn, second leading goal scorer on the team last year for Mercer. Plays it behind for McCarthy. Close defense applied by Alexander of the Tar Heels. McCarthy again. Down to 30 to shoot for the Bears. Push from behind by Alexander. No foul call. Loose ball near the sideline. Bodies everywhere. Eventually, play is stopped. And possession will go to the Tar Heels. So Carolina weathers that extended storm. With the third quarter halfway gone, the Tar Heel lead still 6. Each team has scored once since halftime, including the first goal of the day for Chris Gray. Gray had a 6-point game for the Tar Heels last time out against Colgate. And we get a flag on the field here. It's a delayed penalty against the Bears. So a freebie here for Carolina. Anderson scoots it in front. Cameron bounces wide. There's the turnover. Whistle will blow, and the penalty will go in effect against the Bears.
Outside penalty successful to Mercer. Number 41. Matt O'Connor. Offside. 30 seconds.
It's an offside penalty against Mercer. That's a 30-second foul. Carolina will go man up. Tar Heels were 3 of 4 in man-up offense last game. 6-on-6 here. Gray whistles it wide. Solomon from behind. Back to Cook. Hat trick for Tanner Cook. Cook had 2 in the second quarter, adds 1 here in a man-up situation in the third. Carolina's got their biggest lead of this game at 11-4. And Tanner Cook with the hat trick. 4th goal of the season for Cook. Much like through the second quarter, Carolina with an answer. Mercer got it down to 5 consecutive goals now for the Tar Heels. So a 3-goal game for Cook. He's still 2 shy of his career high. That was 5 goals against Furman 2 seasons ago. Another face-off win by Tucci. Solomon wanted a hat trick of his own. Bounces the ball all the way up the tunnel on the far side of the field over there. Possession will stay with the Tar Heels. By the way, the face-off situation, Carolina's now won 3 in a row after near total domination by Mercer throughout the first half. Gray behind. Gray passing. Kelly with the save. Henry Schertzinger took the shot. Wanted to make it 12-4 just like that. And what would have been another assist for Gray. Khaled Kelly denied him. 4th save of the day for the Mercer freshman. So the Bears go back on offense. Priester with it along the far alley. Plays it back to Quinn in the midfield. Missed connection with Goldsmith, nearly another turnover with Bowen breathing down his neck. Near side, Quinn. Harassed by Bresci. Gets it in front, and a second goal today for Nick Rockefeller. Rockefeller was the Bear who had that bouncing shot right at the end of the first quarter. Trimmed the lead down to 4-2. Now Rockefeller gets his second goal of the day and 3rd of the season, here with just under 5 minutes to go in the third. So makes it an 11-5 game now. Assist to Quinn. Quinn's assist, his first of the season, to go with a 3-goal game last week. 4 points now on the year for Quinn. Nick Rockefeller is a junior from Ackworth, Georgia, Harrison High School, northwest of Atlanta, Cobb County area. Tucci against Wood on the face-off. This one controlled by Wood and the Bears. Tipped in the air by Cameron, though. Carolina nearly got possession. Mercer in some trouble. They've got 10 seconds to clear it now. Traffic will dissipate. Looping pass. With just 2 seconds to spare, the Bears do get it across the midline for a successful clear. The second year of that rule in men's college lacrosse, an 80-second shot clock with the 20-second clear clock. Errant shot keeps possession with the Bears. Quinn against Marr on the far side. Goldsmith has his shot blocked. Now a loose ball. A little chippiness there. Possession stays with the Bears, fresh 80. McCarthy with another errant shot. On the move, this is Quinn. Quinn trying to spin. Gets low and scores it. First goal of the day for Michael Quinn. Senior from Stevensville, Maryland, has his 4th goal of the year. So Quinn with an assist on Mercer's last goal now gets to be able to score one himself unassisted. 2nd point today, 5th of the season for a senior playing on that first midfield line that Coach Kyle Hannon of the Bears calls an exceptional leader. Coach Hannon's been really pleased with Quinn's leadership abilities as one of the veterans on this team that is young in spots, but it speaks to what Coach Hannon was discussing. He said this is a team that, despite going 1-12 last year, returns a lot of key players for this year. They've played a lot of lacrosse together. They've got a lot of game minutes, and that leadership would be very important today. Mercer knew they were walking into a very tough test against the Tar Heels, a top 10 team in the nation. Coach Hannon said it was going to fall on the shoulders of guys like Michael Quinn to be able to lead this team through adversity that you knew would probably come when facing the Tar Heels. And Carolina's had their spurts throughout this game. A couple of 4-goal runs. At the moment, though, it's a 2-goal run for Mercer. Their first run of this game. So our Heels trying to change that here. We've rolled under 2.5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Cameron wanted the hat trick, denied by Kelly, who's been strong between the pipes. Pretty good 3rd quarter for Colin Kelly, the freshman. You can imagine a freshman who just made his collegiate debut 7 days ago against a Division II team. Might take a moment to settle in here playing an ACC team on the road in Chapel Hill. Chance for Mercer to cut it down to 4. Goldsmith has a hat trick already today. Rockefeller wants a hat trick of his own. Possession will stay with the Bears. The shot clock, if it runs all the way down, would take the game clock under a minute here in the 3rd. Priester through the midfield. Back to Rockefeller again. Looking in front. Tipped away, taken away. Bresci's got it. Another Mercer turnover, their 13th. Carolina successfully clears. Anderson, the senior captain. Solomon ahead for Cameron. Cameron takes the shot. Hat trick, Brian Cameron. The sophomore from the Granite State has 3 today. 5th goal of the year for Cameron. Say what you want about the arrival of Chris Gray. He's done wonders for the Tar Heel offense. But the concept we talked about throughout the game with Nicky Solomon and Brian Cameron both being sophomores this year, having a year of experience under their belts, it's really showing off. Tucci against Wood at the face-off X. Carolina with a response after Mercer's first run of this game. Ball knocked around. Scooped by O'Connell. O'Connell moving in. Carolina can take the final shot here of this 3rd quarter. Less time on the game clock than there is on the shot clock. Tar Heels will be content to do just that. Schertzinger drives. under 20 seconds now. Solomon looking in front. O'Connell goes low and to the left. Gray, waning seconds of the third. Another save by Kelly. That's how the third quarter comes to a close. Cameron gets his hat trick. We end the third quarter the same way we started it, with the Tar Heels. Both Carolina and Mercer finding the back of the cage 3 times over the course of the third quarter. See the scoring breakdown there. Mercer scored first, 4 unanswered for the Tar Heels. The rest of that first quarter before the Bears scored 1 late in the opening 15 minutes. Carolina created some separation over the course of the second quarter. They had a 4-goal run in that period as well. And both teams with 3 goals in the third. Matt Krause with you. Thanks for joining us here on ACC Network Extra. Carolina is 15 minutes away from a 2-0 start to their season. Mercer Bears trying to erase a 6-goal deficit. If they can do so, they've got the chance to beat the Tar Heels for the first time ever and also be 2-0 for the first time ever. The face-off X was a point of domination for Mercer in the first half. Carolina has now won, let's see here, 10 of the 22. At one juncture, it was 4 of 15. Just shows the improvement there for the Tar Heels. And as a result, less opportunities for the Bears, and Carolina's been able to keep Mercer at bay. Kyle Hannon, the head coach of the Bears, said coming into the game he was pretty confident that his team could get shots offensively. It's just a matter of taking good ones when they got the opportunities. And they got those opportunities in the first half, but Carolina stood strong defensively. Chance to go up 7 here. Gray behind the cage. Tanner Cook has a hat trick today. Alex Trippy with a goal. Trippy's second today, 3rd of the season. The assist to Nikki Solomon. Solomon's 4th assist today. So it's a 6-point game for Nikki Solomon. Second time in as many contests we've seen a Tar Heel record a 6-point game.
The third assist, number 8, Nikki Solomon. Carolina goal 13:42 in the fourth period. By number 1,
13-6 Carolina. 6-point game for Solomon, coming 7 days after Chris Gray had a 6-point game. Carolina wins the faceoff based on a violation on Wood of Mercer. Tucci takes it down in a hurry. Gray puts it right into the stick of Kelly. And just for some context in there, Carolina had not had a 6-point game since Chris Cloutier in 2018. They went the entirety of the 2019 season without a 6-point game. Now they've had one in each of the first 2 games of this 2020 season. Not just had one in the first 2 games, but 2 different players reaching the 6-point plateau. Carolina's offense has created a lot of hype nationally. Big reason why the Tar Heels ranked top 10 in the preseason by the Inside Lacrosse media poll, despite the fact that Carolina's missed the NCAA tournament each of the last 2 years. And the ACC, always the best men's lacrosse conference in the country. Carolina picked 5th of 5 teams in the preseason poll, yet winding up top 10 nationally. This shows yet again the depth of the ACC. Tar Heel team that went 1-3 in conference play last year, but did pick up a 2nd win against an ACC team when Carolina defeated Syracuse in the first round of the ACC tournament. That was before Chris Gray transferred here. And it's Gray that gives it up for Solomon. By the way, that first round of the ACC tournament is a bygone relic for history. This year, the ACC has gone back to the old tournament format. Only the top 4 teams qualify. And the entire tournament's played in one weekend. Last year, they went to a format where all 5 teams qualified. There was one quote-unquote play-in game, then the semifinals, and then a week later at a different site was the championship. Mercer off the turnover. Gets into their offensive half of the field. Keaton Johnson's made 4 saves in goal today for the Tar Heels. Raises his total of 13 on the season. Marks loses his footing, perhaps with an assist from Bresci, who has a goal today and a transition opportunity. Not all the time you see a defensive midfielder record a goal. That was the case on a nifty sequence earlier in this game on a botched clearance attempt by Mercer. Goldsmith wants a 4th goal today. Shot deflected.
Mercer shot, John Goldsmith.
Quinn behind the cage makes Alexander stumble a bit. Marks can't hang on. Johnson turns it aside. Had some juice on it. The shot from Tim Kronberger. Sophomore from Phoenix, Maryland, trying to get it past his fellow sophomore Johnson. Good reaction time by the Carolina keeper. Mercer continues to pepper the cage with shots. Now 34-33 Carolina in that shot category. Quinn over to Kronberger. Zach Green, the freshman behind the cage. Gives it up for Goldsmith. McCarthy walled off, half the shot clock gone. Bresci checking Goldsmith. Behind a screen from Green. "20 seconds to shoot now for Marks. Down to 8. Tracing the crease. Quinn denied. And a shot clock violation. As McCarthy got it back but wasn't able to do anything with it.
Violation Mercer.
So 9 minutes to go. Carolina back on offense, up by 7. That's the biggest lead of this game for the Tar Heels. Trying to go to 4-0 all-time against Mercer, a 20-9 win in the season opener last year. It's the 3rd straight year these two teams have played. Carolina won 14-7 here in Chapel Hill in 2018. The initial matchup came back in 2012, which is Mercer's 2nd year as a program. 20-7 Carolina win. Perry on the move. Cook is a hat trick today. Solomon wants one. Solomon wants to one-up his teammate Gray. 1 more point, and Nicky Solomon will have more points today than Chris Gray had last week. But it is Gray here. Gray sneaks it over the long pole. Solomon looking for positioning. Solomon whistles it wide. Just 5 seconds to shoot here for the Tar Heels. Anderson starts it, speeds on cage. Trippy, shot clock horn sounds, and a shot clock violation for Carolina. Underneath 7.5 minutes to go here. Goldsmith with 3 goals to his name. It's now 9 this season. Came into play today, tied for the national lead in goals. Obviously very early in the year, but he's certainly a name to keep an eye on. Poised for a big, big sophomore year in Macon, Georgia. Behind for Green. Shot goes wide from Quinn. 14 to shoot as McCarthy brings it up. McCarthy spinning toward the cage. Flag comes out. Delayed penalty against Carolina. And as Johnson picks it up, the whistle will blow. Looks like Mercer will go man up here. Hold against the Tar Heels. Justin Anderson will trek toward the penalty box. "32nd man up here for Mercer. Mercer 0 for 1 on extra man opportunities today. Carolina 1 for 1. As we said on the previous opportunity, Carolina was really good last year in man-down defense. Held opponents under a 30% conversion rate. And the Tar Heels able to successfully clear it. Johnson gets on it. Marr plays it ahead. Back to Gray behind the cage. Ryan O'Connell had the last goal of the first half for the Tar Heels. Carolina still with the regulars for the most part on the field. Guys like Gray and Solomon who takes a shot. Might see after one more Carolina goal or a couple more minutes ticking off the clock here, Joe Bresci go a little bit deeper into his bench. He's able to do that in the fourth quarter last game against Colgate. Gray has the ball knocked away. Gavin racing toward it to pick it up for Carolina along the far sideline. Matt Gavin with 20 to shoot. Schertzinger over to Gray, trying to create himself, but a double team arrives. 2 penalty flags fly. Delayed penalty on Mercer. Freebie chance for Carolina here. Tar Heels will go man up if Gray can't convert. And the shot clock horn sounds, but a penalty forthcoming against the Bears. It's a hold on Mercer. Hold is on Garrett LeClaire, sophomore from Peachtree City, Georgia. So Carolina goes man up for 30. Tar Heels 1 for 1 in man up opportunities today. Cook finds Anderson. Make it 2 for 2 with the man advantage. And the senior captain from the Silver State has his 4th goal of the season. Justin Anderson scored a hat trick last time out against Colgate. Gets his first of the afternoon here. So the Tar Heels go up by a game-high 8, 4:25 to play. Anderson becomes the 7th Tar Heel to score this afternoon. Balance up and down the Carolina roster. Cannot stress enough that the resurgence of Carolina at the face-off X throughout this second half has enabled the Tar Heels to pull away. Though right on cue, Wood wins one for Mercer. Now a 14-12 edge in face-offs for the Bears. Carolina still with the first line defense out there. Trio of Bowen, Macri, and Lyons. Priester, second line midfielder for Mercer. Gets it behind for Goldsmith. Quinn with the footwork to get free. Loses possession. Sails over the end line back to Carolina. Mercer turns it over. It's a 16th turnover for Mercer. And of those 16, 6 have been caused by Carolina. Attack line for the Tar Heels at the moment: Trippy, Gray, and Solomon. Joe Bresci has really run 4 different attackers through there. Trippy, Cameron, Solomon, and Gray. And Gray's really the only one that does not come off at any point. Deeper midfield line here. Era Atayan is in for the Tar Heels, number 12 in white. Gray right behind. Gray surveying, moving. To Trippy. Shot deflected. Back it goes to Mercer. Sean Morris gets in the game for Carolina. Junior from Stamford, Connecticut. Number 16 in white. So Morris will be the long stick defensive midfielder at the moment. Green, the freshman, misses the cage for the Bears. Mercer keeps possession. McCarthy will bring it in. Looking in front. Ball knocked around. Ground ball scooped by Carolina. Macri brings it up the field. Captain gets it away for Trippy. Nearly an over and back if Schertzinger can't get to it, and he does. Final 100 seconds. Tar Heels close to keeping Mercer off the board here this entire fourth quarter. Tell you what, even though Mercer is not going to get the victory here today, the Bears, off their season opening win last week, really competed hard. Played a pretty good first half, first quarter especially, against the Tar Heels. And even though Mercer went 1-12 last season, would not be surprised to see Kyle Hannon's team pick up significantly more victories than that, contend for a spot in the Southern Conference tournament this year. Their next game comes up on February the 22nd when they host Hampton at noon, first ever meeting against the Pirates. Mercer will also take on Wagner, St. Bonaventure, Cleveland State. All winnable games as non-conference play rolls along for the Bears. There's a lot of talent on this Mercer team. I'd look for Sean Goldsmith to be among the national leaders in scoring all season long. He's certainly got the potential to. 3 more goals today, now 9 on the season for Goldsmith. Sophomore from right here in North Carolina. Carolina does not have to take another shot. There is less time on the game clock than on the shot clock. Would not be surprised to see the Tar Heels just run out the time here. Already up by 8, no reason to take that shot. Underneath 10 seconds to go. 7 different Tar Heels score. A 6-point game by Nicky Solomon. the second by a Tar Heel in as many contests, and Carolina goes to 2-0 on the season for the 7th consecutive year. Your final, the Tar Heels 14 and the Mercer Bears 6.